Hello and welcome to the Public Consultation Centre for the Regional Road 85 Improvements and Elmira Bypass Environmental Assessment. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation and learn more about this study. Your input is extremely valuable to us. Part of the region of Waterloo's ongoing commitment to reconciliation, the following territorial acknowledgement serves to honor the ongoing relationship building process with Indigenous communities. This acknowledgement is a continual reminder of the past, current, and ongoing work that the region must undertake in its steps towards truth and reconciliation. The region of Waterloo is situated on the land traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge, contributions, and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today. The purpose of this Public Consultation Center is to provide an overview of the study area, study purpose, study process, and schedule. Provide a short review of the first public consultation meeting and what we heard from the public. Present the alternatives, evaluation, and preferred options for Part A and Part B. Discuss the next steps, including how you can provide your comments and input into this study. Let's start with a review of the study area, background, and the problem and opportunity statement. This class environmental assessment study is really two projects in one, broken into separate but related parts as follows. Part A, Regional Road 85 Improvements, consists of approximately 6 kilometers of existing Regional Road 85 from the north end of the city of Waterloo to the southern limits of the town of Elmira. Part B, Elmira Bypass, focuses on assessing a possible bypass route in consideration of the township's desire to redirect traffic and specifically track traffic away from the Elmira downtown core. The study aligns with Region and Township of Woolwich policies aimed at making it easier and more equitable for people to have transportation choices, such as walking, rolling, cycling, and using transit. These planned improvements include upgrades to Regional Road 85 from Sawmill Road to Provincial Highway 85, with a timeline in the Transportation Master Plan from 2019 to 2031, and in the Transportation Capital Plan from 2030 to 2034. Another upgrade is to Regional Road 85 from Listowel Road to Sawmill Road, which has a timeline in the Transportation Master Plan from 2031 to 2041. The final upgrade is the Elmira Bypass Project, which appears in the Transportation Master Plan beyond 2041. Lastly, the study aligns with policy related to making the downtown core of Elmira more pedestrian-friendly. This is Township of Woolwich policy contained in the Elmira Core Urban Design Study from 2022. The region's 10-year Transportation Capital Plan includes multiple projects around the study area. This slide highlights the projects located in the study area, and the accompanying map provides color-coded information about each project. The town of Elmira primarily consists of residential lands to the west and commercial and industrial lands to the east. Future development is expected to continue following this general pattern. Historically, the population has grown from 8,155 in 2001 to over 10,790 in 2021, representing an average annual growth rate of approximately 1.6% according to Statistics Canada. Population is forecasted to grow to 23,582 by 2051, while employment is expected to increase to 8,660 by the same year. The map highlights known planned developments in the area, shown in purple as of 2022. The municipal class environmental assessment process is an important planning tool that seeks to ensure the optimal decisions are made for future design and construction of major public infrastructure. The process has 5 phases as shown and includes stakeholder consultation throughout. This initial process does not include detailed design and detailed value engineering decisions. For this project, we're currently finalizing phase 3, during which we have identified a preferred solution for each part and are seeking input from the public. The next phase will involve finalizing the environmental study report. Environmental assessment problem and opportunity statement was defined through extensive discussion between the region and township staff, using the background information and also guiding documents. The formal statement, which served as the main driver for this study, aims to capture a comprehensive definition of the goal of the project and the key issues that need to be addressed. This slide summarizes the key aspects of that statement. Let's continue with a brief summary of the first public consultation, highlighting existing conditions, key features, and constraints. In the work for Part A, the key features that needed to be considered to develop the set of alternatives included the Conestoga River Bridge, an existing bridge toward the south of the study area, the sawmill roundabout, which has been expanded to 2 lanes and is considered fully built out, the existing buggy culvert crossing, which may require upgrades, other culverts, a railway crossing, and the Listowel Road intersection. In the work for Part B, the key features that needed to be considered to develop this set of alternatives included the Listowel Street intersection located at the south of Elmira, the Church Street intersection situated in the downtown core of Elmira, the downtown core itself and the township's plans for it, Floridale Road, an existing road that may require upgrades if considered as part of a bypass route, and the Canagajig Creek, a water feature that would require a new crossing for some of the east bypass options. Key findings of the transportation analysis for Part A, Regional Road 85 improvements are: approximately 25,000 people currently use the corridor daily. Projection shows that this number will increase to up to 39,000 people daily by 2054. Vehicle safety is adequate, speeds and delays are not problematic between intersections. However, there are more collisions between vehicles and people walking and biking than there should be, given the relatively small number of people not in vehicles. Sections between intersections are not at capacity. Widening to 4 lanes is not justified based on traffic volumes or vehicular safety concerns. Intersection improvements at Listowel Road are required to reduce delay. Active transportation facilities are inadequate along the corridor. Key results of the transportation analysis for Part B, Elmira Bypass are: trucks in the downtown core are undesirable. There are approximately 1,050 trucks that use the Arthur Street corridor within the town of Elmira each day. However, most trucks travel to and from destinations within Elmira's industrial area. If a bypass road existed, only approximately 300 or 29% of the trucks on Arthur Street would use it each day. The projected volume of traffic that would use a bypass is very low, estimated at 2,300 in 2022 and up to 3,500 in 2054, or approximately 10% of the total vehicle volume on Arthur Street. For the first public consultation, we engaged the public in a variety of ways. The main themes that emerge are summarized on the slide. These include the need to divert truck traffic away from the Elmira downtown core, the importance of improving overall traffic operations, and the desire for active transportation facilities in both Part A and Part B. We also heard that maintaining a safe operating environment for all users of the corridor is essential. Additionally, the public emphasized minimizing impacts to private property and agricultural lands wherever possible and maximizing the use of existing infrastructure to help reduce overall costs. This feedback was considered during the evaluation process to select the preferred options for both Part A and Part B. That concludes the summary from the first Public Consultation Center. Now we will discuss the alternatives and their evaluation for both Part A and Part B. Let's start with Part A. In every environmental assessment study, the do-nothing alternative must be considered. For Part A, this would involve maintaining the existing road cross-section which has been identified as deficient, particularly because it lacks suitable active transportation facilities. However, during the future detailed design phase, value engineering may occur, potentially resulting in a solution that falls somewhere between alternative 0 or the do-nothing option and the preferred option, which we'll discuss shortly, to provide needed active transportation improvements connecting Waterloo and Elmira. The alternatives for Part A are presented on this slide. For more detailed plan views of the alternatives, please refer to the detailed alternative overview on the display boards, which are also uploaded on the Engage WR website. Alternative 1 aims to replicate the highway conditions south of the study area, with 4 lanes of traffic and a 15-meter wide center median. This will require widening the Conestoga Bridge, significant property impacts, and land acquisition. At the approach to the Listowel Road intersection, additional lanes would be introduced to improve queuing and reduce delays. Alternative 2 addresses some of the significant property impacts of Alternative 1 by replacing the 50-meter median with a much narrower concrete jersey barrier median. Intersection improvements at Listowel Road would also be included, similar to Alternative 1. Alternative 3 maintains the existing 2 lanes of traffic and adds a multi-use trail along the outside edge of the right-of-way. This approach reduces property impacts while recognizing that traffic volumes and vehicular safety conditions do not justify widening the roadway to 4 lanes. The trail would accommodate walking, rolling, cycling, and horse-drawn buggies. Like the other alternatives, intersection improvements at Listowel Road are also included. Before discussing the main aspects of the evaluation for the alternatives, we want to explain the evaluation and costing methodology. The approach was to compare alternatives as apples to apples as much as possible, ensuring that all options were considered on a similar basis. For example, all alternatives use the same start and end points. Unit prices are applied based on a typical cross-section for all alternatives. We assume the replacement and extension of existing box culverts and bridge crossings for every option. Costs for improvements at Listowel Road intersection were omitted, as they would be relatively consistent across all alternatives and would not influence the decision. Property acquisition costs were calculated using areas and corresponding unit rates. Allowances were made for utility relocations, and projects already planned in the Transportation Capital Program were excluded from the costing. This methodology ensured a fair, consistent comparison across all alternatives. The evaluation of alternatives was based on several different indicators. This slide summarizes the indicators that were most relevant to the feedback received during the first public consultation, reflecting what was important to the public and that informed the selection of the preferred option. The complete evaluation, including all indicators and their corresponding scores, can be found on the display boards on the Engage WR page. All alternatives satisfy operational traffic and vehicular safety requirements, with the exception that Alternative 0 or Do Nothing would still require improvements at the Listowel Road and Regional Road 85 intersection. Alternatives 1, 2, and 3 address active transportation needs and include separated active transportation facilities. In terms of impacts to adjacent property, Alternative 0, do nothing, has the least impact, followed by Alternative 3, then Alternative 2, and finally Alternative 1, which has the widest cross-section and the greatest property impacts. Alternative 0 and 3 do not require widening of the Conestoga Bridge, which is a significant component of the estimated cost. The estimated costs are as follows. Alternative 0, 7 million, Alternative 1, 99 million, Alternative 2, 92 million, and Alternative 3, 27 million. Alternatives 1 and 2 have much higher estimated costs due to greater private property impacts resulting in the need for full or partial property acquisition and the substantial cost of widening the Conestoga River Bridge. As shown in the table, the recommended preferred option is Alternative 3, as it performed best overall in the evaluation process. However, as mentioned earlier, there are opportunities for further work and for value engineering to be applied to address active transportation needs while reducing estimated costs. Now, let's move on to the alternatives and evaluation for Part B, also known as the Elmira Bypass. The alternatives for Part B are presented on this slide. For a more detailed plan views of the alternatives, please refer to the detailed alternative overview on the display boards, which are also uploaded on the EngageWR website. Alternative 1 uses the existing road network to route through traffic around the west side of Elmira. This would involve upgrades to Listowel Road, Floridale Road, and Reed Woods Drive. Alternative 1 is longer than the others, which means several intersections would need to be addressed or upgraded. There are also multiple culverts along the route. Reed Woods Drive would need to be regraded to accommodate truck traffic, meaning it would be evened out to improve driving conditions and ensure safe sight lines. Reed Woods Drive has an existing bridge over the Kanagaji Creek that would also need to be replaced. Additionally, an existing Hydro One transformer station near the intersection of Reed Woods Drive and Regional Road 85 may be affected. Alternative 2 proposes a new road alignment or new regional road on the east side of Elmira. This alternative would require a new intersection at Regional Road 85 and Scotch Line Road, an upgrade to an existing railway crossing, a new intersection with Southfield Drive on the east side of Elmira, a new bridge crossing over Kanagaji Creek, a new intersection at Church Street with the new road, a new crossing of the Kissing Bridge Trail, a new intersection at Reed Woods Drive and Regional Road 85 with one of the legs connecting to the new road. In addition, this alternative would require some new culverts and other new infrastructure to support the new alignment. Alternative 3 uses Union Street to carry vehicles, specifically trucks, from the south into the commercial and industrial areas on the east side of town. Union Street currently ends at Herb Street. This alternative would extend Union Street north approximately 280 meters across private property to connect with Church Street, just west of the existing bridge over the Kanagaji Creek. A new road east of the existing developed areas would then connect Church Street to Canning Place. This alternative would require upgrading or reconstructing portions of Union Street and may require several intersection improvements along the route. It would also affect several private residential properties east of the downtown core due to the Union Street extension and would require 2 new intersections at Church Street. Additionally, the intersection of Regional Road 85 and Canning Place would need to be updated. Alternative 4 also uses Union Street. However, instead of extending Union Street north, the route follows Howard Avenue east and then a new road alignment east of Elmira to connect with Regional Road 85 at Canning Place on the north. This alternative would require several intersection improvements, upgrades to Union Street and Howard Avenue, a new bridge crossing over Canagajee Creek, a new road east of Elmira, a new crossing at the Kissing Bridge Trail, and intersection upgrades at Canning Place and Regional Road 85. For all alternatives, Arthur Street through the town would be designated as no through trucks, and active transportation facilities would be recommended along or parallel to Arthur Street. As before, the evaluation and costing methodology used an apples-to-apples approach. This included all alternatives using the same start and end points. Unit prices were applied based on a typical cross-section for all alternatives. It was assumed that existing roads would require reconstruction. Property acquisitions were calculated based on area and unit rates. Allowances were made for utility relocations, and planned transportation capital program project budgets were not included. The evaluation of alternatives was based on several different indicators. This slide summarizes the indicators that were most relevant to the feedback received during the first public consultation, reflecting what was important to the public and that informed the selection of the preferred option. The complete evaluation, including all indicators and their corresponding scores, can be found on the display boards on Engage WR. All alternatives meet traffic and vehicle safety requirements. Alternatives 2, 3, and 4 support active transportation. Alternative 1 partially does, and do nothing does not. Alternatives 0 and 1 mainly use existing infrastructure. Alternative 2 uses fully new infrastructure, and alternatives 3 and 4 partially use existing roads. Alternatives 1 to 4 divert some through traffic from the downtown core, do nothing, or alternative 0 does not. Alternative 2 has the highest impact on agricultural land. Alternative 3 impacts the most private residential property due to the Union Street extension, and do nothing has the least impacts to both agricultural and residential properties. All alternatives, except do nothing, affect the Canagajee Creek due to crossing upgrades or needing new crossings. Estimated costs are do nothing, $38 million, alternative 1, $78 million, alternative 2, $75 million, alternative 3, $67 million, and alternative 4, $64 million. The estimated cost for the do nothing alternative includes the cost of planned projects in the Transportation Capital Plan. The estimated cost for alternative 1 covers the reconstruction of the road to accommodate truck traffic, the regrading of Reed Woods Drive to ensure adequate sightlines, and the replacement of the bridge over the Canagajik Creek on Reed Woods Drive. Because this route is longer than the others, it also requires more kilometers of work. As shown in the table, the recommended preferred option is Alternative 4, as it performed best overall in the evaluation process. This concludes the information we plan to present in this Public Consultation Center. Next, we will discuss the upcoming steps and how you can provide your comments. The public is invited to provide feedback by completing the survey on the project website, which is open from October 20th to November 26th. You can also review the Public Consultation Center materials on the project website. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to the project website to receive updates and information. Following the Public Consultation Center, the project team will review and respond to all questions and comments, track feedback, and review the preferred functional designs for Part A and Part B in light of the comments received, making design refinements as needed. The project will then be submitted to Regional Council for review and approval. If approved, the environmental study report will be finalized and submitted to the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. Thank you for watching this video presentation and for your interest in this project. We appreciate your time and interest.